Today's guest, we're having a conversation with Eileen Rivera. Last year, 2018, she closed $68 million in volume. That's on 85 transactions. That's definitely rock star status. Eileen,
Thank
how
you.
are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am awesome. I'm so glad that you're here having this conversation with us.
I'm thrilled. Thank you for asking. Thank you for having me. You're, I have a tremendous amount of respect for you, and you're a dear friend. So, it's a pleasure, Andy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, you're one of my favorite people in this business. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's jump right in. Let's talk about those 85 transactions. Where did they come from?
I look at the business not just last year, Andy, but the last 3 to 5 years to look for patterns. And last year we had a really healthy mix of places, but consistently for 5 years now, our 3 top sources. There's a different one in the lead every year, but our 3 top sources are geofarming, online conversion, and open houses.
Wow. So talk to me a little bit about the geofarming. How does that work? Like how many rooftops?
So I mean, I've been farming for a long time, so that really helps, right? There's name recognition and brand recognition. I can tell you that for 2019, I looked at my budget, and as one of our mentors says, I doubled down. So literally, we're sitting here in February, and I've already had 5 pieces go into the farm. And for the first time, I'm doing every door direct. And I have a lot of folks in our industry telling me that that's counterintuitive, right? Everybody's investing online and social media and Zillow and all these other different things. But I feel like what's old is new again. So I'm not getting anything in the mail. So I thought, if I'm not getting anything in the mail and my friends aren't getting anything in the mail, it's a time to double down on the mail.
Did you say this is the first time you've done every door direct mail?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. We used to years ago, gosh, when you and I first met, probably a dozen years ago, I had someone that would literally drop for me, like thousands of flyers and postcards.
That's right.
There was a guy with a sack with all the postcards in it, and he'd drop.
Right.
But now with Every Door Direct, the upside for me is I have the funds to do it, right? I don't believe anyone that's listening, whether they're a seasoned agent or brand new, do not start something that you don't have a 12-month plan for.
Good point.
Right?
Great point.
Because consistency is critical. So no matter what it is, calling expireds, investing in Zillow, door knocking, no one becomes successful in this business without consistency.
Right. I totally agree. I'm curious, your farm, how many rooftops?
For years, my targeted farm had about 2,200. Now, because we're mailing, in terms of who's getting the marketing, we're at about 5,000.
Wow. 5,000.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain, do you have like market share? Like, do you know about how much of the market you own?
I can tell you that I'm number 1 in that market, have been for years. Last year, what eroded a little bit was not my standing, but my focus, Andy, is making the gap between me and number 2 wider and wider.
Nice.
Right? So last year, it was probably about a multiple of 4. So that's pretty good, right?
Yep.
400% better than number 2.
Right.
But again, I want to be of service to more people in my community.
Nice. And when you spoke about online, are these to your website, or how do you have your online leads?
Well, my online, we still invest in Zillow. I evaluate that budget all the time, right? I've often said from stage that I have a love-hate relationship with Zillow. Right. I love the results. I hate that I pay them so much money, right? But that's just the reality of business. But I don't do it blindly. I'm always looking at what is my return. I'm looking at where I can cut back with the shift in the market.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at how do we take every single deal that we have. This is absolutely my number one theme for 2019 with my team and with individual agents. Every single deal that you do, how do you get two more out of it?
Right. I love it.
Right? That's the most profitable business you and I can do, and that our brokerages and our teams can do is like, okay, did you knock around it when it was a coming soon? Did you knock around it when it was an open house? Did you knock around it when it went pending? Like, it's you create a system around every single deal, whether you represent a buyer or seller, and you look for two more.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's also touch on open houses, because I know you've always been the open house. Two things I know that you were always awesome at was open houses and just phenomenal listing presentations. So you mentioned open houses. Tell me something about that. What are you doing nowadays?
Bigger and better than ever, very deliberate. You can't make every open house a great open house, right? A great open house is an open house that 5 people come through and results in one deal. I mean, that's a great open house. I know that we are in a numbers business. It's a numbers game. Therefore, my thinking is the more people I get in, the better my odds are at conversion, right? As a team. So the last, do you want me to show you the last piece that I did for an open house?
Go for it.
It's pretty cool. Like people want it and I haven't shared it. So whoever your audience is, they're getting it because they're with you. So,
I appreciate that.
Hold on. Let's see if it comes down easily. So we premiered 3 open houses the same weekend. Mm-hmm. All 3 are in the farm. Okay. Right? We had about 55 open house signs out in the community.
Nice.
3,000 of these invitations got mailed. 3,000. Okay. And we do a once a year giveaway for a vacation.
Nice.
For a $5,000 vacation, one a year. Again, remember, financially, we're able to do it. We have a big presence in the community. So this is what drove 300 people through those open houses that weekend. 300 in, I'm sorry, what was the date? January 26th.
Oh, that is amazing.
300, right? So the bad news is, right, everything is in how we as agents look at it. I sent out more than 3,000 invitations. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you scale that down, that means if you only send out 30, you'd have gotten 3. If you sent out 300, you would have gotten 30. Not bad. I sent out 3,000. We had 300 people come through.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So the open house, can you tell me anything else? Like you got about 300 people through there, and obviously you had your team members there. Yes. And by the way, how many people are on your team?
I have 4 agents.
4 agents. And what about admin?
I have a manager and I have a full-time listing coordinator, and we outsource transaction coordinating. Nice,
nice. And any other tips? I'm curious about the open house. Can you tell me, for example, there's a guy in my area that has a hot dog truck that he pulls around. So he has food at his open houses. There's other guys that have balloons. They do the whole bit. Anything spectacular like that? Any kind of...
I think you have to look at what gets the consumer in, right? Because a lot of times I like to do, pretty, something that's going to make for great photos. But the bottom line is when a homeowner hires you or I, they hire a specialist in marketing, a specialist in the local market, a specialist in results. And I think that's how you have to look at your efforts, right? So it's like, if I go get a bunch of cupcakes, and having cupcakes just makes a nice impression, but doesn't drive opportunity for my seller, what's the point? That's why we do the big giveaway. You don't have to do a $5,000 vacation. Like, I've only been able to do that for a few years. But what if you flyer 100 invitations around the listing and you do a $50 gift certificate for dinner to a local restaurant? Like, what can you do to drive activity? Then there's the work ethic component. You know, do a Facebook coming soon video or just listed video and attach a budget to it, get an audience to it, call local brokers and agents, go knock the neighbors. Like there's sweat equity and dollar equity. Like what can you afford to invest? Sweat or money? I'm still 20 years later, I'm still investing both, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Love it. I love it. That's a good transition into my next point, mindset. Tell me what you work on. Tell me what you're reading. Tell me what an agent that wants to get to your level, what should they be doing right now? What should their mindset be?
They should absolutely stand guard at the door of their mind and their spirit, right? They should protect it fiercely. What am I reading? I'm always reading something. I'm always reading something. I'm always doing affirmations. I'm always doing gratitudes. You and I were kind of taught that years ago. So for everyone listening, for years, I have written down every single morning, 10 things I'm grateful for.
Love it.
It really frames your day. And I've been through a lot of ugly and painful things in my life. Mm-hmm. And gratitude is how I kept my head above water during those years. And it's so cool now to write on my gratitude every morning. And it's, you know, again, you're probably going to have like thousands of people see this, but I have a daughter that's in recovery, right? You were there for me, you and a handful of our friends when I was dealing with that. It was, thank you. It's one of the many reasons you will always hold a very special place in my heart. But those were tough days. Well, she's been clean for 11 years. Right? And still every single morning on my gratitude, I write down her name, continued sobriety.
Right.
Because I don't ever want to take for granted like where I am now in every way. So mindset is critical. Affirmations are critical. I constantly say things to myself still all these years later. I'm a miracle magnet. I am absolutely a miracle magnet. Opportunity surrounds me. All I have to do is look up and pay attention. Like that's one of my like constant rants in my head.
I love it. I love it. That's why you're the person you are. So let's talk tools. What type of tools do you use for your operation? Any kind of software, anything that could make life easier for agents trying to grow their business?
I invest in a lot of tools. I invest heavily in the mailings. I invest heavily in staff. I invest heavily in Zillow. None of that got me here. What got me here was being in a mastermind group with you. What got me here was being accountable to my coach and being a grown-up and showing up and lead generating and learning my scripts. And being disciplined. Those are the things that got me here that then allowed me to have some income to reinvest in the business. But again, like you and I were together with a great group of people, John and Dave and all those guys years ago and Maggie. And it was those fundamentals that allowed me to build the business I have. So I love the tools, Andy, but it's not the bells and whistles. Like it's the work ethic. You know, I closed 2 deals last year, just 2, right? I know it's not like record breaking or anything, but I closed 2 transactions last year for a total of about $1.1 million, $1.2 million between the 2 of them that came directly from dropping 50 letters around just pending. That's nothing. Like people were teaching us that 20 years ago. Like a little handwritten note with a story. Then I made 50 copies, right? Business around business. I dropped it to the neighbors. I said, I don't know if you heard, but we went pending and we had this many people at the open house and we have legitimate buyers. Call us if you're thinking about selling. 2 closings from that one thing.
Wow. So clearly, and we were both, I could almost say we were raised this way. It's all about system, right?
Yes.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So tell me something. 2019, what's your goal for 2019?
My goal for 2019 is getting better with my calendar. See, isn't that funny? We're back to that, right? Like
Right.
now the money stuff is consistent. So I will continue to grow my market share in my farm.
Nice.
I will continue to work with my agents who are all humble, hungry, and smart. They're very coachable.
Right.
They do the right thing by their clients, but they love the, like the chase and being of service and getting that done. So
Right.
continue to grow and coach them. Like you do with your folks. It's like having somebody in your corner. We've had our group for so long
Right.
that some leaders, some owners, some managers forget what you and I will never forget, which is like those people count on us for leadership.
That's right.
Right? So I need to be better with my calendar. I need to be better with balance because I go down the rabbit hole and I'll go back to working 14-hour days. And, it's like, that's, gotta live by the calendar. Systems, learn your scripts. Learn your scripts. For anybody that's watching this that don't happen to know Andy or I personally, again, we were raised with like work ethic and consistency. And I can still recite true confession. Like I haven't recently called expireds, right? We hearing about calling expireds. Like if you're not calling expireds and you're a newer agent or you're not happy with what your, what your revenue is, do what Andy says, do what I say, get on the phones, do expireds. There's an opportunity. My cup runneth over with what I have, right? So I'm not chasing something different. But we were raised, if you will, like I can still do the old expired script we learned 15. Hi, this is Eileen with the Rivera Group, and I noticed your home came up on my computer as an expired listing, and I was calling and to find out when are you interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your, right? I mean, you can do that out of a dead sleep.
Right.
Everybody watching who's not where they want to be with their business needs to master 6 critical scripts. Master them. Don't change a word until you can say them inside and out from a dead sleep. That's foundation. Your skills and your calendar, and do not be fooled. This is an absolute, no one's ever going to be able to persuade me otherwise. I've coached and mentored a lot of people over the years. You, no matter how smart you are, no matter how talented you are, you will get beat by work ethic every day.
Absolutely.
You will get beat by work ethic. So if you're looking at somebody else saying, I wish I could be them, get your butt in the chair at 8 o'clock every morning and work this job like a real job, not like a hobby.
I love it. You are amazing. You are absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Am I lecturing? I'm sorry. I get on my high horse. You got to reel me in.
No, you are a rock star. You know that. You are an absolute rock star. I really appreciate you having this conversation with us.
Thank you.
So this is EliteAgentSuccess.com. That's Eileen Rivera, a rock star. She's from Long Beach, California. Again, last year, 85 transactions for her and her team. Not bad. Thanks again, Eileen. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.